Hi, Jodi.
Hi, Brandy.
So we thought we would talk to each other and kind of have like a backstage pass little segment on the podcast, the Marketing Shakedown. So Jodi and I are going to recap kind of our history together and where we're going forward. And we have a couple of questions actually that people have asked us, which we'll get to those. But Jodi, let's talk about when and how we first met. Do you remember how long ago it was?
I think it was in 2012. Does that sound about right?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So, I remember moving back from Nashville and people were fangirling over Brandy Kemp photography. And so I liked you on Facebook and saw all of your photo shoots and became a fan. And then you offered a Mother's Day mini session. So I contacted you, booked that, and at the mini session, I started talking about how I just moved back from Nashville and I was kind of bored and disappointed with what was happening in the area, especially compared to where I was. And so we sort of just started this creative brainstorming on the spot there of things that could be cool to have in Milan and what we wish would be available to the community. And it's just kind of been going on since.
And you formed Arts Underground. I
I
remember that.
did, yeah.
And we
Brandy gave me the
posted
opportunity to teach art lessons at her studio. I
until
think
you
my
found a
first
spot.
client was actually Cameron Kemp,
Yeah.
and she was such a creative spirit and unique, one of a kind, and which she got that DNA from her mother.
So how old was Kai?
She was a toddler,
Yeah,
maybe a
she
year
was
and a half
little.
or 2 years. Yeah, I think not quite 2 years yet.
So what happened with what you started Arts Underground and then you moved into your own space. And
Hmm.
then I think we met Brandon after that.
I think so. Brandon came along. He actually was around when I first opened the studio downtown. And a part of what our relationship with him was included brainstorming about events. We actually helped him with some of his events for his law firm, movies at the Milan Ritz. We did some pre-parties. I want to say our first
It was
thing we did
Superman,
with
wasn't it?
him was Mockingjay. We
That's
may have,
right.
it was in Humboldt. We may have like photographed it. Do you
I
remember
think you're,
that?
yes, I think you're right. I think you're
And
right.
and then it just again went from
And
there.
and it's funny because we said we don't even remember really how he came along. It just seemed like he was always
He was
there.
always there. Yeah. All right.
So after Brandon came on board, how in the world? Well, tell me about Bernie. How did Bernie come about?
So it actually was related to Brandon
You're right.
because he wanted to give his wife a Valentine's Day, special Valentine's Day gift that wasn't just like flowers and whatever. He wanted to surprise her. So we, I think you put on Facebook, weird question, but does anybody have a gorilla suit?
Yeah.
And the universe provided. And so we took that gorilla suit, I think surprised her outside of probably the Milan Ritz, I believe.
I think it was the
And
theater.
did we give her a banana?
Yes, yes, and a
Okay.
note from Brandon.
That says I'm bananas for you or
Yes,
something
that's
like
right.
that. Anyway, so from then on we used Bernadette, um, in marketing, videos, photo shoots, sometimes When I got froggy, I would walk to the mailbox when
And
your
wave at
studio was
traffic.
on the highway, with the Bernie suit on. And that was always a good way to freak people out.
And Bernie was in the Christmas parade.
Bernie was in the Christmas parade. That's
Bernie went
whenever
in a
Bernie
bank
made
fully
friends.
dressed.
Huh?
Bernie went into a bank and gave a
Bernie went to a
Valentine's
bank.
gift.
Bernie made friends with the Grinch, Santa Claus, and lots of other, I think Rudolph the reindeer was there. Yeah, Bernie also was featured in a video with a chimpanzee that was a parody of Wham. It's still on the internet. Go find it, people.
I'll have to put the link in the show notes.
Yeah.
So Bernie also awarded me or gave me a bunch of bananas when I won Woman of the Year in front of everybody.
In front of everybody, all the people.
Yes. And
Yeah.
several people asked if that was me in the costume giving myself bananas. And I was like, where?
I don't think
No.
you've mastered that skill yet of like doubling yourself. Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting night. I think I was very sweaty by the end of it because the Bernie suit, the thing, the Bernie suit, great during the wintertime, but like during summer or in a public setting, very sweaty, not breathable. It probably stunk really bad by the end of whenever you buried Bernie. So
I have two questions that people have asked, and one of them is, where is the banana stand that Bernie always talked about?
the banana stand is a metaphor or an analogy for the creative brainstorming group, that it was a safe space where you and me and Brandon Newman would just basically explode our brains out to each other and then like create connections from
Make
there.
something great and make something cool out of all the chaos.
Yeah. I mean,
And we had a great time.
yeah. For the people in the know, the banana stand, there's always money in the banana stand. And so by having like this secret group where we could just like throw ideas out, no judgment, and then build upon them, that was like that creative process was us. There's always money or always some kind of path forward through our creative uniqueness, especially with our three strange brains combined.
But we did a lot of great things.
Yes.
And I'm tickled that you are back on board working with me. Woo! So we can continue the chaos and continue the weirdness, because we need that. People need that. It's good to relieve stress and just to be something different than the norm. You know?
I love, one of my favorite things about doing something weird is that it takes people out of their like day-to-day routine. It gives them like I don't know, a space of imagination, and hopefully also like boost some kind of creative flow in their own brain so that it's like the monotony, especially in a small town, the day to day. I mean, there's only so many times you can go down the same street going from one way to another. So I think having stuff like the zombie walk and the movies that we did with Brandon and helping out with community events, doing like our own little mini event within a big event, or, you know, our weird public performance art, or whatever videos or photos we wanted to do. I hope that people felt like we were adding to the fun and unexpected part of living in a small town in West Tennessee.
And all of this is basically what guerrilla marketing is. And Bernie was the perfect mascot for guerrilla marketing.
Yes.
Being a guerrilla herself. And
Literal.
yes, yes. We didn't get arrested. We almost got arrested. The news was called on us. We had protests. I mean, we lived it up for sure.
You know,
So
I feel like that if you don't have critics, then you're not doing something right.
that
If
is
everybody
very true.
agrees with you at all times, I don't know if that's the path I want to choose, but it was all in good fun. We did shenanigans for a good cause, is what I
That's
always say.
correct. That's
So,
correct. If we
mhm.
weren't just doing it to run rampant in the streets.
Not fully, maybe a little bit.
So the next question is, what is the gorilla tea? What is next for Kemp Marketing with our guerrilla marketing? And Bernadette has, bless her heart, she has gone on to a better place. But in Bernadette's memory, we are kicking off something for 2025. Do you want to talk about that?
Um, are we talking about the fandom of it all?
Yes, yes, for sure.
Okay. I'm not sure how much of this is like a secret project, right? So I would say we have really gotten inspiration from people, maybe even musicians, who have really built up a community of fans and supporters to help them have a successful career. And that's not only are we doing that for Kemp Marketing, we also want to show other business owners how they can implement some of these proven skills to create a community, create a street team, create a fandom that are there to support you, to be like your street team, to be your core audience that you can carry with you over time.
Your fan
Um,
club.
your fan club, exactly. So, if we want to talk about the queen of the fandom,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Taylor Swift, uh, no matter if you like her music, hate her music, there's a lot of respect you have to have for someone who has built their brand to a point where everybody in the world knows her name. Everybody has heard one song at minimum, and some people know every single lyric to every single song, and basically every word the woman has ever written or spoken throughout her
Right.
life. Um, One of the things that I think is awesome is like she had this trajectory where when she was young, she started out in music and she's really utilized like communication tools with her audience throughout like the trends of each one. Like she started off on MySpace back in the day. She would post on there, she would make blog posts, or they had like the little, you could do like little essay blog post. And then she would also put her songs on there. She would comment on people's MySpaces. She really interacted with like her small fan group at that time.
Right.
And from
Right.
there, she built up whenever she was wanting to do more of like ease on into pop music and go away from country, she went on to Tumblr, which was a very hipster inspired platform. And she really built a following on there also. And then with like Instagram, that's more of a wide community of people. You get exposure to a lot of people. So she has really utilized these social media tools to build up her brand over the years and followed the trends, really dove into things like YouTube. Whenever YouTube was especially big with vloggers, she would do behind the scenes vlogging on her tours. She would talk to her mom was on there, her dad was on there, her brother, her dancers, her musicians, her friends. She would just really give you a backstage pass into her
Her
whole
world. Yeah.
world. And you got to know her personality. You got to see that she's just like a real human behind the facade of a pop star or a country star at that time. You really, she really made an avenue for her community and her fans to connect with her on a personal level. And she still continues to do that through this day. She even, on TikTok and stuff like that. She also has given back to her fans. Like, she's had secret sessions with them where she would basically stalk people online, handpick fans to come to one of her homes, and she would play her albums for them before the release. She's
Yeah.
also like donated money, given gifts to them, like gone to their weddings and played music, and just has given back to her community as much as they give to her. So that's something I respect about her.
Yeah, I'm not an avid listener. My
Yeah,
daughter is, Rachel,
yeah.
but you have to respect game.
Mm-hmm.
She is opening up her world. And I see a lot of businesses say, I don't want everybody to know what I'm doing. You don't have to let them know everything. We don't know everything about Taylor. We know what she wants us to know.
Yes.
And it's not just you see your cats and you see your mom and you see your dad. You see her as a person, and she's opened up personally to people, and she's showing in that way her appreciation because they're the ones that's pushing her along.
Yeah.
Because of that, you feel this strong connection with her. And I've used the example before. When Prince died, I cried.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't come to Thanksgiving at my house. He didn't talk to me personally, but I felt like there was this connection with him because I watched him grow and evolve with me as I grew and
Yes.
evolved. And you
Mm-hmm.
feel this strong connection. And it's not like as a business, you want somebody to feel, to cry when you pass away, but you want them to be able to connect with you and say, I've got a lot in common with her or him. And
For
that's who I
sure.
want to do business with. And I think
Prince was
people don't
definitely,
see that.
yeah, Prince was definitely like one of those people who was able to carry his fandom, his lifelong, his fans were with him from the beginning to the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely like went mainstream in a lot of ways, but he had like a core fan group that stayed with him throughout and supported him throughout his career and life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something to aspire to, is having your core community that really uplifts you when you need them to, and also they're your biggest cheerleaders, and
Right.
everybody
Right.
needs a cheerleader.
And everybody says word of mouth is your best marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Your army is your word of mouth.
Yep.
If they
Mm-hmm.
feel connected to you and they feel like they respect you and want to do business with you, they're going to, you don't have to ask them to tell other people. You don't have to ask them to share things that you post on social media. They're going to
Right.
do it
Yep.
automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So
Even if they can't buy your products, they can support you, and they will support you.
that
And
is very correct.
and if you have a business that you like, anybody who I'm speaking to in the audience, if there is a business you genuinely connect with, and you don't really need their services at the time, or you can't afford their services, or whatever is keeping you from being an active customer, just interacting with their content online is such a small thing you can do that makes a big impact on a business when it comes to like the marketing realm.
And
So
the algorithm, it
yes,
all
yes,
helps.
it all helps. Yep.
So Bernie is going to be resurrected in a little bit of a way. We're going to have some things on tap for 2025 that we're working on that we're excited about. We don't want to spill all the tea right now, but details will be coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
I love catching up with you, and I'm so,
Yeah.
so happy that we are together again, working together. And I mean, it's like, it's hard to get out everything that's in your head, and it seems like you just get what I'm thinking, or it's like you get what I'm thinking and then you add on, which is
I love
like
it.
amazing to me. And I love that.
It's
I love that.
it's one of my favorite things in the world, is just having stream of consciousness with people and not feeling like you have to necessarily filter what
Right.
is coming out of your brain. And then people can hopefully someone will connect. Like you connect with a lot of the stuff that comes out of my brain. I connect with what comes out of your brain. And then we hone into it and see what works best. We've had a lot of trial and error over our every either of our
We know
lives,
what to
both
do
of our
wrong.
lives together. Huh?
We know what to do wrong.
We know what to do wrong, and I think we are showing that we know what to do right too.
That's very, very true. Well, thank you, Jodi.
You're
We plan
welcome.
to do this on a regular basis. Check
Yeah.
in. I'm going to check in with all the employees, and so you can get to know them a little bit better. And Jodi, I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you.
I love you too. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.